This episode of the Game Over Greggy Show is brought to you by Movement Watches. Movement Watches was founded on the belief that style shouldn't break the bank. The watchmaker's goal is to change the way consumers think about fashion by offering high-quality, minimalist products at revolutionary prices. With over 500,000 watches sold to customers in more than 160 countries around the world, Movement Watches has solidified itself as the world's fastest-growing watch company. Movement Watches start at just $95. Now, at a department store, ladies and gentlemen, you're looking at $400 to $500. Movement figured out that by selling online, they were able to cut out the middleman and the retail markup, providing the best possible price. Classic design, quality construction, and stylized minimalism. Over 500,000 watches sold in more than 160 countries. Did I say that? I did. Right now, you can get 15% off with free shipping and free returns by going to movementwatches.com/Greggy. That's MVMTwatches.com/Greggy. This watch is cool. You've seen me talk about it before. Black face, red hands, black band. I look awesome. So it's time to do it, ladies and gentlemen. Step up your watch game. Go to movementwatches.com/Greggy. MVMT. Join the movement. Colin, what's your topic?
The weather.
It's raining right now.
Not specifically the weather now.
Kevin, throw open that window. I want to see how, because it's not even just raining. It's like fucking storming. It's windy. Shit's blowing around.
It's not that bad.
It was really bad.
By
earlier
California
today.
standards, it's pretty bad.
It's really annoying is what it is.
I love it.
I hate it so much. I don't know. See, you're one of those people, obviously. How can you like the rain? How? What about
Rain's
it is
nice.
cool?
It inspires
it's like,
me.
cool when you're inside and it's all nice. It's like, oh, I guess I can sit here and write and I can sit here and play games. I can sit here. I get all that
It's an
stuff.
excuse.
But then when you go outside, it's like, this is the worst thing of all time.
Why are you going outside?
But rain just causes problems even when you're inside. Like you do not have a chance of flood when it's not raining. You do have a chance of flood when it is raining. Everything gets all fucked up. Mm-hmm. It's dumb.
You might die.
So dumb. To be fair, though, I don't like the heat either. I like San Francisco being San Francisco.
Yeah, fall.
Give me 65 degrees. Call it a damn day. There's no competition. I understand New York has it worse. I understand LA is hotter. Texas is
Really hot.
On the sun.
Texas just needs to fucking stop.
Yeah.
Texas has these heat storms that are just so hot where I'm like, why? Who could live on this? In this world? And then they have their thunderstorms and lightning storms and it's just like, oh, this is just natural. We're flooding right now, but it's just cool. Nah, guys, figure your shit out.
Well, the major thing about that, the South and Southwest specifically, like that I always think about is people lived there. Like the oldest city in North America, founded city by European colonists, is Santa Fe. And that was founded in the 1500s. Could you fucking imagine being down there? Well, there's probably like a few hundred people of your kind even anywhere on the continent. And you're walking around like in that fucking heat with 500 years away from air conditioning. That's a terrible kind of thing. I don't know how anyone ended up down there. No wonder we didn't want to go further south. The thing I want to ask about weather was, what is the perfect weather? And Tim had asked that or answered that question because I concur. I miss seasons, and I think there's something to be said about that. I think it changes the way you think and the way you feel, and watching the leaves fall, watching the snow come down for the first time, watching flowers pop out of the watching flowers pop.
I'm watching you do that every Friday night.
Watching flowers pop out of the soil and March, April. I remember I used to get really excited about that when I was a kid. Like we had these all these different plants in front of our house, and you kind of predict like when they would come up and start to bud and stuff like that. And so I miss that, but at the same time, I think about the horrors of winter, and especially in Boston, but New York winters are no joke either, and all that. And then I came to realize that I think the best part of San Francisco, not so much rainy season, which happens, and it seems to be quite bad this year, is the 9 months or so of uninterrupted mild weather that requires no more than a sweatshirt.
But can always use one. You know?
Yeah.
Fashion over function. You can wear whatever the hell you want.
It's really it's really kind of an interesting and unique and special place in that regard. Like San Francisco has some things going for it and some things not going for it. But I think one of the things that is somewhat understated by people that visit is the great weather. Because I think when people come to California, they expect Los Angeles type weather. And you get that if you go to Sacramento, or you get that if you go to the San Jose. But there's just something about this specific microclimate on the peninsula that's just all fucked up. And you saw it again. You just see it actually even in times like this. The rain we've been getting in the city is not even remotely like the rain everyone else is getting for some reason. Like people are getting destroyed by the storm. North of us, south of us, inland. But for some reason, San Francisco is just getting normal rain. And then you watch the local news and they're like, down in San Jose is fucking apocalyptic. Yeah. And I'm like, it's only 45 minutes away. what is protecting us from this is weird microclimate kind of thing. So I have to give a shout out to San Francisco's weather and say that all things being equal, it has the finest weather. And if I ever left here, and I assume one day I will, that's the thing I will miss the most is that, you can't take that for granted that we don't have to bundle up here. You don't have to fucking sweat it out here. There might be a day or two of both every year, but otherwise, like I like the idea of like I'm just gonna I've actually gotten into the habit of even checking the weather, and which is makes times like this very unique as opposed to New York or Boston where it's like it's a fucking shit show. So
yeah. I mean, I grew up here, so I'm very familiar with how the weather patterns work. And for me, especially in school, it was a bigger deal because I would have to take the bus and I didn't have a car and all that. So it was the first week or so when you come back to school. So you're talking like early September, maybe late August. There would just be 2 weeks of heat. Mm-hmm. And it was always like way hotter than it will ever be the rest of the year. Then all of a sudden it just goes right back to what it was. And then somewhere it always changes, but either December, January, or February, there will be this like 30 days of just rain and wetness and freezing cold. But I will say it's colder now than I think it's ever been. It's never been this cold here. It's weird. And so many people I know are bringing that up as well, where they're just like, what the hell? Like, why is it so cold now?
Yeah, it has been excessively cold over the last, like I said, last week was probably the coldest I've ever been in San Francisco, which to the point where I was like, I can't go barefoot in my apartment because the hardwood floors are freezing my foot. I'm kind of like, I'm torn because I love the weather up here. I love that we have seasons. My favorite season, I love when fall happens and you start feeling that briskness in the air and you're like, oh, I might need a coat. But I still got to go with Southern California's weather. I got to go with LA's weather or San Diego where it's just kind of warm all the time. Sometimes it's excessively hot.
I was going to say, it's not kind of warm. You're melting.
Well, I mean, it depends on when you go down there. But for the most part, it's just warm outside and nice. And you can wear shorts and flip-flops and T-shirts everywhere. And it's awesome. And I do miss those days of like, there was no question. I was going to wear for 6 months out of the year, it was just, I'm going to wear shorts and flip-flops unless I'm at work. That's just what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And like, no matter what, you were just kind of like, kind of breezy. It was fun.
To not just be a hater, I will give a shout out to LA and Texas nights.
Oh yeah.
Like when it's a warm night, not the horrible stormy nights in Texas.
Sure.
But
a thunderstorm's fun.
No, they're the worst. They're even worse than this. Because then it's like, great, there's a 50% chance of a blackout. Like, there's nothing fun about the rain. There's nothing fun.
The rain's fun.
No. What's fun? Give me the rundown.
The sound. Like earlier today when I mentioned it today or in the morning show, I wanted Nick to kill the lights and just sit here and listen to the rain hitting the rooftop.
YouTube.
Because it was coming down.
Just look it up. You'll find
I don't want to YouTube.
Search for fucking I am an idiot.
Wow.
That's the file that'll come up.
Wow, okay. No, you're wrong about all that. See, the problem is that right now it's the winter storm of rain here, so it's cold out as well. I love a good summer thunderstorm, especially when it is that oppressive fucking heat all the time. You're in the suburbs of Chicago, it's humid, it's hot, and then those dark clouds start rolling in, and that shade gets cast down, and there's that chill in the air all of a sudden. You're like, oh, it's going to happen. You go there, and you still have your windows open. It's like middle of the day, you're off school, you lay on the couch, and you play a game, and you just hear it coming down out there, and like lightning bolts and fucking shit. Dark clouds.
Then all of a sudden you can't play games anymore because there's a power outage.
Yeah, maybe you do. Maybe you blow the.
Then you have to go outside, and it's like great. Now
you don't have to go outside. I don't understand what you're doing so outside.
You have to go do something. There's a task that requires you to go to school or do some bullshit. So
you get in the car, you drive where you're going. You go from your upstairs to your garage into the car. You're out. This is the thing when people are always like, "Oh, it's so cold." And all this stuff. You get in there.
The privilege that you have,
from the car to the restaurant, from the restaurant to the car, from the car to the Walmart to the. You're not. It's not like you're fucking walking.
You got everyone's out when it's raining, so it's like it's a disaster in terms of car. The worst part about the rain and transportation is everyone's driving, so you can't go to like a mall or a restaurant because every motherfucker's there because they're trying to get away from this shit. Or you're a kid that has to take the bus, and then everyone's on the bus. Then you get on the bus, and it feels like a New York subway station where it's the hottest thing ever. It's fucking terrible. Terrible.
Yeah, I will say that the one thing that is missing from your experience and your experience that you guys will never experience, it's too late now, is the joy of the snow day. And because winter, I love winter. I fucking love winter. I think blizzards and like these disaster snowstorms are the fucking best, man. I have great memories of like, especially living when I was younger and those times I spent in New England, but also Long Island. I remember building a huge snowman with Mike Pope in the middle of the street, and then watching a school bus just plow it, which was like, no, I don't mean literally plow it, just to fucking run it over. It was really awesome. And I remember being in 6th grade and walking out in Maine when I lived there for a little while. The snow was up to like my chest. And I was like, this is insane. Like, I've never seen anything like this before in my life. And you guys can't understand, Greg knows, but the trepidation of the night before, you hear the snow's coming. You know it's snowing. You have to have the timing just right. You're watching the local news, and on the bottom is all the school closings scrolling.
You
it's like 2 hour
inevitably
delay.
have a geometry test or some bullshit that next day that you're terrified. Like you're like, I don't want to study for this. They're predicting it's a real storm. I'm probably gonna get the snow day, but I gotta kind of study. But I don't want to. But I gotta kind of.
And it's just amazing. News 12 on Long Island was the local kind of thing, and you'd watch it, and they'd have it just scrolling, and then you'd always every once in a while, everyone got fucked once in a while, where everyone was closed except for you. You had a 2 hour delay.
No.
You know, or you had to just go, and it's like, well, why? You know, all these other places around us are closed. But then you'd have the one where it was like, I remember there was like a week or two continuous just closed schools.
Was it snow or cold?
It was snow.
See, for us, I think I had way more cold days than I did snow days.
Cold days?
Where it is too cold to go outside. We're afraid a pipe has burst. The similar, you're saying something froze and took out a power line. It is just too cold. Don't come. I remember being at a 5th grade basketball practice, and there was like it started like that scuttlebutt of somebody over the parents of the coaches, and some parents said it, and it kind of like spread through the crowd that this might happen. At the end, like Anthony Diarco's mom came down and was like, no school tomorrow. It's too cold.
The phone chain.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. The phone trees. Yeah.
Yeah, phone trees. That's what it was. Yeah. That's like a special kind of joy because my sisters are teachers in Virginia, and it gets snow down there. Not as bad as we did, but any snow. It's like kind of like rain here. Like no one understands rain in San Francisco. I've never seen anyone. The way people drive here, even when it's raining, I'm like, what's going on? Like, it's not like the end of the fucking world, you know?
To be fair, driving in the rain is very scary. And it's like,
go a little bit slower.
But you're just more used to what I'm saying is that you're just not used to it here as opposed to out
What?
in other parts.
Is your microphone on? Because I'm not going to engage you unless you put your microphone on.
Was that a look at me because of what happened Saturday?
Yeah, when you lost control of the car 3 times?
That wasn't my fault.
it's the rain's fault. Because
It's
the
the
rain
rain's
is fucking
fault.
stupid.
Maybe you just drive a
no,
little bit
there
slower.
were big puddles, and I told you.
And that's why you should avoid them, not hydroplane. Just drive a little slower.
Come on, it was fun. We made it.
It
through
was
at the
fun.
end.
It was also fun when we were driving, your car just turned off. Never seen that before in a truck. But,
Me
we're
neither.
we're in the road and
It's
it
a
turned
new
off. Okay.
experience.
So I'll say this. I'll leave it here. Shout out to weather, but also shout out to just being able to observe but not necessarily limit it.
Sure. Yeah.
And winter, everything's dead. It's snowy. Those are the times I remember playing video games. I have specific memories of specific games and specific weather systems or
Mario
these
64.
storms or things that would come through. I get so excited, man, when because it's October, November, December, not January, but like back in the day, games would come out during this time. So I remember just hoping and praying I can play more Tales of Destiny if it would just snow, and then it would
Yeah.
snow, and you get a snow day, and mercifully on a Friday or a Monday, you get a
Oh
long
my
weekend.
God, are you kidding me?
Oh,
Best.
it was the absolute best. But then it was so bad when you the snow would come too early, too late.
You're on the precipice and nothing. I always hate it when
I
it was a
remember that game.
prediction.
I'll never forget that.
The weathermen predict it's going to be terrible. Don't expect to go to school tomorrow, and then you go to school tomorrow. Fuck.
I'll never forget
Weather
that.
sucks for the most part. I'm with you. Like I miss fall. I like it. Now it's kind of like when your friends have kids and you get to visit, be like the cool uncle, and then just bounce. It's like, oh man, I miss fall. I go back to Columbia, hang out for a football game. It's nice. It's cool. I'm putting on sweatshirts, and like it's colder than it is in San Francisco, and the trees are doing their shit. I'm like, yeah. Then I come back to San Francisco where it's always the same. And same thing this past trip where, cool. I'm gonna go to Montreal. I'm gonna for winter, and it's like fucking snowing the bejesus out there. It's all fun. It's beautiful. It's all this stuff. But I can already see the cars covered in that gray fucking film of the salt and all that garbage. And I'm like, ooh, no, this is around. I remember in Chicago, this is like this as soon as that first snowfall hits in like maybe late November, usually December, and then until like April, May, that film is on every fucking car. I'm like, I can't, not a fan
Yeah,
of that.
it's
But it was
it's
fun
disgusting.
to visit and see it and put on snowshoes and walk around and slide a bit and see Porty in the snow again. But then I got to come back here to where it's pretty normal except for right now when it's raining. But even this is normal. I expect the rain like this. But it's not the fun rain. Because even when I go back to when I went to St. Louis for a friend's birthday and it was tornado season. And we're out there and the sky goes dark. And we're like, oh shit, everybody go inside. And like, oh, man, those sirens are going. It's pitch black. It's hailing. I'm filming. We're out there drinking beers. I'm filming the hail. I'm like, this is so cool. Then the tornado siren goes off. We're like, all right, let's go downstairs to the basement. We go downstairs to the basement. I'm filming out the window. It's like, yes. I remember this and I miss it, but I don't need to live
Hold on.
it.
You said that this isn't the fun one. You then went on to describe what is supposed to be the fun one, involving going to a basement and sirens.
The amount of times as a Midwest child I have been in a tornado, or not even in a tornado. I've been in a few tornadoes like that. But the amount of times I've been in a tornado warning, like sirens going off, it's really happening. You're like, it's not happening here. It doesn't happen here. It's the houses are too packed together. I was outside. This is when my friend lives in St. Louis, but in Soulard, right outside. This is a section of the city, right outside the Budweiser Brewery. No tornado's gonna come through there, but the sky looks menacing. Yeah, let's go down. You know what I mean? It's not going to get you, but just in case you go down there.
No, I get that, but
Yeah.
you described that as fun.
Yeah, well, yeah. Okay. I mean, I missed it. I haven't had it happen in so long. Again, that chill in the air all of a sudden. The hail and the rain stop suddenly, but it's still pitch black out. You're like, oh man, this is cool. We could all die real soon, but we're not going to.
It's a thrill. I get it.
There was one time in Colombia where, it was me and my ex, and she was like, I need to go get a dress for a wedding or whatever. And I'm like, all right, cool. There's a storm system. Now let's just go. And we drove down I-70, which is a terrible idea. And we got like an hour into the ride, but only made it like 45 minutes outside of where we should have been an hour. And then we got to where all the semis were blown over on the road, like all these semis. And I'm like, all right, let's turn around. This is a bad idea.
Probably a
We'll
bad
go back.
idea.
Yeah. We tried.